Tony Harvin, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Tony Harvin Network. No, Tony Harvin. I forget, I'm on the primary channel. I greet everybody upon this afternoon. I hope everybody's doing well. You know, I decided to come on here to talk about, a news story or whatever the case may be. Shout out to everybody who's going to join us live now in the middle, and those who are going to catch it when it uploads to YouTube. Yeah, man, we had a good conversation yesterday on the other YouTube channel. For sure. Y'all know my disclaimer. I'm not a pastor, preacher. I don't hold any type of office in the church. So please do not lay claims of those titles on me. We're not here to violate any type of community guidelines, any type of copyright infringement, or any type of privacy guidelines at all, and whatnot. I hope everybody's doing well upon this Monday. You understand what's up to Sharon Taylor. Shout out to you. Hope all is well, and everybody out there in the background as we're about to have this conversation and whatnot. There's a lot of crazy madness that's going on in the world today, as y'all know. What's up, the warrior? Shout out to you. He says this world is far gone. You're right. I agree with you. You understand? You said yes, all is well here in Baltimore. Baltimore. That's what's up, Baltimore. What part of Baltimore? Yeah, man. Shout out to Baltimore. What's up to, what is that, Armada? Shout out to you. God bless you too. Thank you for joining as we talk about this conversation. A Taco Bell employee. I know a lot of us been fired from jobs and whatnot, but is it that serious to unalive somebody just because you got fired? I've got fired from a job before. I got fired, not from a job, but jobs. It ain't that serious for me to go out and want to unalive, the manager or supervisor who fired me. What's up to Dawn? Shout out to you. He says blessings from the Philippines. Shout out to the Philippines and whatnot. Now this story comes out of Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio. As I'm looking at the news story right here, I'm pretty sure some people are going to research it and whatnot. Sharon Taylor said just wait until November with SNAP benefits being taken away. What you mean by that? SNAP benefits? What is that, like welfare or something like that? I've heard of that. I've heard of it, and whatnot. Sharon, who says greetings to the Philippines. You said yes, food stamps. Oh, wow. Wow. That could be another story we could talk about in the coming days or coming weeks, for the most part. That's going to be a crazy time. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there rely on food stamps and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, some people probably have food stamps for years and years. Now it's being taken away soon. But some people use the system. Some people, they don't need it. He says a lot of people working in fast foods going to be stealing food and getting fired. That's funny. Well, this gentleman was fired. He got upset. Jonathan Morris, 21 years of age. He got upset and unalived his manager. For what? It ain't that serious over a taco. Warriors said they taking food stamps away. Ain't that something? They taking food stamps away. What's up to SV? You said some people are so unhinged. They'll kill for no reason. Just like this situation. Over a taco. That's sad, man. I'm just being sarcastic, but the main reason he unalived his manager because he got fired. Now, it was an individual a couple of weeks ago where I worked at. He got fired. He got fired. And all I heard was some banging. I didn't know at the time what was going on. I just heard some banging going on the outside. I didn't know what it was. Until somebody told me the next day what happened. You understand? The young man was acting irate, I guess, because he got fired. Listen, go to Kohl's next door, fill out an application, get lost. It ain't that serious to catch a temper tantrum over being fired. You understand? It ain't that serious. Because you might make the wrong decision just like this guy did by unaliving his manager. Now there's a possibility that you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. You know what I mean? All right, what's up, though? Honey said, don't be stealing. What's up to Patty Brown? Sharon Teller said, why did he get fired? Well, you talking about the Taco Bell story? Well, it doesn't give too much details to why he got fired or whatever the case may be. It says, fired Taco Bell worker returned to his place of work hours later with weapon. So it doesn't give too much details on it and whatnot. You know how these news stories are. They just want to focus on the killing. What's up with John? He said Trump's #1. Okay, whatever. I don't care if he's #1, #2 to you. I don't care. You understand? Although I did think that AI he did was funny. That was funny. All right. What is that? AN says every life matter, not only Black Lives Matter. Who said that? I don't care if you was orange. Who cares? I don't care about no skin color. Who said anything about Black Lives Matter here? I ain't hear it. You must don't know this channel. You must don't know this channel. You understand? I don't represent Black Lives Matter. I don't represent that movement. What you talking about? Black Lives Matter. All right. What's up to the real Andrew Dixon? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Dawn says you need a job, not that job. Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. What's up to Double AM? Shout out to you. Warrior says AI is just going to get worse. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. What's up to Ernest Beard? Shout out to you. Andrew says, quite tragic based on what I'm hearing, just coming out of Jamaican convention. Oh, yeah. It's not the first time, a situation like this happened. I believe a McDonald's worker stabbed her manager up. Also, recently. Within the last 2 months, I think. So situations like this happens a lot in America. When folks get fired and they catch a temper tantrum and want to unalive either the manager, supervisor, or other workers because they upset. Listen, there's plenty of jobs out here. There's hundreds of jobs out here. You understand? It may take some time. You know what I mean? You may be backed up in bills because now you got to find a job now. Now, depending on the state, you can file for unemployment or whatever the case may be. Sometimes I think it's better to get fired to get unemployment benefits than to quit. Alina Russell says, greetings, shout out to you. Hope all is well. Warrior says, for real, it's literally not that serious. I got fired from my fast food and found a better job at a warehouse. Wonderful. King says, it's a mental thing going on. It's also spiritual. Well, it could be that. But guess what? Now that he unalived his manager, he's in prison. Now he got a lot of time to think about that. All right? What's up to Dan? He said, just passing through. Wishing you a great day. I hope everyone you meet today is genuine and loving towards you. Huh. Right. 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 We would hope that would happen every day. You know what I mean? But we know that ain't happening. We know that's not going to happen. You understand? What's up to Morgan? Shout out to you. Warrior says, hope he finds Jesus. I mean, yeah. You know, we hope that for everybody in general, for sure. You know? All right, we're just scrolling through for the most part. What's up to Patty Brown? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Sharon Taylor says, well, while in prison, he will hear the Truth of God broadcast. I mean, it's possible. I don't know. It's possible, I'd say. All right. Dede says, I'm trying to find a boxing gym in, I guess, Minnesota. Can you help me? Well, I don't live there. I don't live in Minnesota. The only advice I can give you is Google. You know what I mean? Google some boxing gyms and whatnot, and things of that nature in that area. And I'm pretty sure and hope you find a decent gym. You know? So try that out. Helena Russell said, yes, he said, yes, that's, I guess you meant sad over a job. Now it's going to be hard for him to get a job. You said, well, his job going to be in jail, and he's going to be working for free. What's up to Anthony Nelson? He says, good afternoon. My 3 trip, I guess you meant your 3rd trip to the ER in 3 days for staph infection on ear and right leg. Let me see what is that? Staph infection. It says bacterial infection caused by whatever this word is. Long medical word. I don't know how to pronounce that. Well, much prayers to you. Much blessings and prayers unto you. At Anthony Nelson. Andrew says you should visit Jamaica during the Caribbean conference next year, God willing. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Although I don't like airplanes, we shall see. You know? What's up to Marcia? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Maybe I'd take a cruise there if I could. I don't like airplanes at all. What? I'm not no preacher at Day. He says, can you explain what falling in church means? And why many people glorify someone falling? Oh, okay. I thought you asked me a biblical question or something like that. Falling in church? You mean like somebody backslide or something like that? Let me know. You said, why many people glorify someone falling? Just like if I was to fall. You got a lot of haters and stuff like that that would love that. You understand? They would love to see somebody who's excelling or positive or successful fall. Because why? They don't want to see people grow. You understand? Some people have a lot of jealousy in their hearts, a lot of hate. You know what I mean? Just like this fella who unalived the manager. He didn't care about none of that type of stuff. The man who he unalived had 7 kids. 7 kids. Now these kids ain't got a father. You know what I mean? There's a lot of haters on here. They're probably watching. So if Lord forbid, if I become a deadbeat father, oh man, they would love that. They would make a bunch of videos and stuff like that. Like, look at that fella right there. Don't he put up the Truth of God videos? He's a deadbeat. You understand? Look at them now making a bunch of videos. Trying to find something. Trying to. You know what I mean? We do videos like this, news stories and stuff like that, trying to warn the people about false prophets who get arrested. You still got haters out there. Haters. They don't want to follow the blueprint that, you know, they could use social media for positive things. You know what I mean? All right, Warrior says some people are stuck in the past. I agree. Definitely agree with that. No problem like Anthony Nelson. Andrew says, come on over. Let's do some Caribbean interviews. Caribbean interviews. Sounds wonderful. Have some Caribbean food. Have me some curry chicken and some, I don't know, what was made? I forgot. Somebody made me some Jamaican food about 2 weeks ago. It was all right. It was good, you know. Curry chicken, you know. All right. King says, we all humans. Those who judge you don't really understand what's going on. For sure. For sure. And there's a lot of judgmental people in the churches and whatnot. Not specifying no church, but I'm just saying in general. It's a lot. What's up to Andy King? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Alina Russell says exactly, they definitely will. Absolutely. You know, they won't send no type of encouragement. They won't. You know, they see me fall. I never smoked weed or did drugs a day in my life, but Lord forbid, and hypothetically speaking, if it happens, you know how many people would be happy about that? That's sad, man. That's sad. You know how many people would be happy, hypothetically speaking, if I went to prison for something? They'd be like, that fella, he made a lot of videos of pastors being arrested. Now look at him. Look at him. It could have been a mistaken identity or something like that. They don't care. It could have been a parking ticket when I was 21 that I forgot about. You know? They hear about it. It could be anything, anything. You understand? It could be anything. They will love that. All right? What's up to Jesus Christ who I fear? Or it says the devil is definitely amongst the churches. Absolutely. Andrew says, if someone falls and you rejoice, it just proves you're of the devil. And that looked like a scripture you wrote. I'm not too sure. You said, rejoice not against me, my enemies. Why I fall, I shall rise. Is that a scripture? Or is that a quote at Mr. Andrew? But you're right about that. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them out there. I mean, just look at what PJ was talking about when he was speaking about AIs. When they had a picture of him getting arrested. And some people was believing it. You know what I mean? They was happy. They happy to see those AI pictures and stuff like that. They happy. They want it to be true. They want those AI pictures to be true, those AI videos of either PJ or anybody that's in the truth of God and whatnot. Or anybody following God. You know what I mean? Somebody see that you're progressing and trying to get right with the Lord. If you're really trying to get right with the Lord, it doesn't matter what church you in as far as like sound doctrine. If it's truth there, then hey, cool. But you know, we got old friends and stuff like that, or people who become jealous. You know? All right? AA-M says, stay focused out here. Out. All right? SV says, them false prophets will have a field day. God forbid that from ever happening. What's up to Gino P? Shout out to you. What's up to Levy? Not a problem at Mr. Andrew. All right. Mr. Hicks, he says the demons are working against the holy, but God is working for us. Okay. Warrior wrote, you put up Proverbs 24:17. Andrew put up Micaiah 7:8 through 10 verses. All right. What's up to Kingdom Worship? Appreciate y'all for putting that up. Anthony Nelson said, what's worse, family hate or worldly hate? Both. Both. Worldly hate, look at the story we're talking about. You know what I mean? Somebody may not like you at all. Come up and try to unalive you. You got people out there that just unalive you for no reason. You understand? No reason. Like a story like this that, you know, that's the headline. Family hate. I really don't pay no mind to that. Because it's like, why? Especially if you grew up together, if you got a favorite cousin, favorite uncle, favorite aunt, whatever, and you get older, and then they start to hate on you. He said it's a tie. You know? Hey, if people have hate in their hearts, whether it's family or just regular people, I mean, I don't care, honestly. It's sad because I don't hate nobody. You know what I mean? I wouldn't come to a mindset of unaliving nobody. It doesn't matter what they say. You understand? It doesn't matter what they say. Now, I ain't going to say what they do. That's different. That's very different. And ain't going to be no hatred in that neither. But I don't care what people say. You understand? In reference to them having hate. All right, what's up to Virginia Fillmore? Shout out to you. Gino P says, I can't rewind because I'm on YouTube Live. What happened with the title? The title was up there. My title not showing? It says Taco Bell employee shoots an unalives manager after being fired. You know? I don't know if the title was showing on your end. But I can see, excuse me, I can see from my computer right now. All right? What's up to Miss Jackson? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Appreciate that. John says it doesn't show the same when you're streaming on shorts. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know. I didn't know the title didn't show. I thought, you know, people could see the title. I think some people could see it, but I don't know. You understand? What's up to, what is that, Gillians? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. You understand? So some people, I guess, could see the title. I guess it depends on what device they're on or whatever the case may be. But, hey, my title was Taco Bell employee shoots an unalives manager after being fired. That's the title here. As we talked about it earlier a little bit, and we went into hatred and stuff like that. What's up to Master G? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. I'm scrolling through some more of these comments. Annie King said, you just don't know what's going on with people. You're right. You're right. You know what I mean? John says, well, I mean of you. He said, join from scrolling on shorts like I did. Oh, I didn't know that. That I didn't know. That's pretty interesting. You understand? That's pretty interesting for sure. You know, I do know that somebody taught me about, you know, people can scroll through like different live streams and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I just started this not too long ago on the other channel and whatnot, and I'm still learning about it. You know? So if you're scrolling through people, you're telling me if you're scrolling through people live streams and stuff, the title won't show. It's just, you know, me talking or whatever the case may be. Wow, I didn't know that. Warrior says YouTube Shorts is like TikTok. Oh, me personally, I don't like TikTok, but I have a TikTok. You know what I mean? I just like to stick with YouTube and Facebook more so. Hicks says we have to go through something to walk holy. Absolutely. Absolutely, for sure. You know? Anthony Nelson says a lot of people don't tell you the hate. He said, excuse me, a lot of people don't tell you they hate you. They show in the worst way, like your baby mama and your children flip on you. Uh-oh. That's another topic. That's another topic. Baby mothers. Woo. I'm pretty sure some fellas out there got some bitter baby mothers out there. That should be another topic for another day. You know what I mean? Because we could take that for a long time. A long time with some fellas on here. You know what I mean? A long time. With some of these bitter women out here. You know what I mean? But we could talk about that another day. You know, that's like a nighttime conversation. You understand? When people is out of work. You know? All right? Kingdom says it's hard to love our enemies, but we have to be obedient to what God says. Love thy enemies, you wrote. Yeah, true. Sharon says, my experience is soon as you go live and I get an immediate alert. I subscribed to years ago, I think. Oh, appreciate that. Appreciate that for sure. You know, I think this channel got better algorithm. It might have better algorithm than the other channels and whatnot. You understand? Because some people don't get notifications from that other channel. But I still would like for YouTube to send out notifications to all subscribers. You know what I mean? I think they just put out a small percentage. It might be like something like 15% of your subscribers. That's all they really sent out. Maybe 10 to 15%. All right. Andrew says you can move from the shorts at the bottom to the live and see the full title. Oh, okay. Cool. What's up? Just Chad. Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Appreciate that. Let me see what else we had. What's up? So Gino P says unalive for getting fired. He says so sad. 25 to life now, working for the prison for cents an hour. Oh yeah. Some people make stupid decisions because when they upset and mad and stuff like that. Come on, we all been mad before. We all been angry. You know what I mean? We all been in the mood to want to fight. Maybe other things. You understand? Let's go get this. Let's go get that. And you start thinking about it. Like, if I do this, if I do that. You know what I mean? That's it for me. So some people are thinkers versus those out there who just act so quick based upon their emotions. You know what I mean? SV said, that has to be a frightening feeling when someone is attempting to unalive you. I pray to God that I'm never in a situation like that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it happens. You know what I mean? You know, New York is a place that I hear and see some stuff, some weird stuff. You know, you got folks just pushing people off the platforms at the train station. You know what I mean? If you're standing too close to where the trains come, you got them people who sick in the mind that will push people off when the train is coming. You know what I mean? That's sad, man. That's sad. One video I saw, I think a mother was walking with a child on the 3rd level of a mall. You understand? And some guy just snatched the child and threw the kid over. You understand? That's crazy. All right? Warrior says, New York is not a place I want to live. Oh, man. Me either. But I have family members over there. Although they got some good pizza, I will say that. Forrest says, it depends also what part of New York. Now, I'm talking about like Times Square and stuff like that. No. Appreciate that at Jesus Christ who I fear. Appreciate that. Forrest says, we are to forgive our enemies, but never forget. And it's okay to never have a relationship with them again. For sure. For sure. I don't listen. I don't mind forgiving people and whatnot. I have no problem with forgiving people. You know? What's up to Sion? Shout out to you. King says, I live on Long Island and it's nice here and peaceful. Yeah, that part probably. That part, Long Island is cool. You know, but when you're in a busy city of like, busy area like Manhattan and stuff like that, it's crazy over there. You know, what's up to Carlos? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. All right, Carlos, what's up to Mahani? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. SV said like Brownsville. No. Not Brownsville. Nope. No way. All right. Forrest says also believers aren't wimps. If someone tries to harm my family or property, it won't end well for them. Well, you know, some people, they're very overrighteous when you have conversations like that. They act like nothing can never happen to them. They act like that. Of course, we hope things like that don't happen, but it's still a small chance of things like that happening. Even when you're outside with your family, you may be at Target. You may be having a nice day. You understand? You may be at the park with your family. You just never know. What's up to EFP? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. You know what I mean? So things can happen at Forest for the most part. Warrior says, you ever been in an actual boxing match? You said you ever been in an actual match boxing. That is correct. I have. Yeah, man. I fought in Long Island at one point. And Hempstead, 2007. It was the Long Island Boxing Championships. Fought there. You know what I mean? So yes, amateurs. There's a difference between amateurs, pros, things like that. What weight? I was 119 pounds. I was 119 pounds. You understand? 119. You know? That was the division. Right? King says, oh wow, Hempstead is close to your job in Amityville. I think I heard of that in the movie, that city or that area, or whatever the case may be. For sure. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me for that. Lord willing, we'll be on the other channel later on, giving our recap about the services of this past weekend, for the most part. You know, should be a great conversation. Gino P says the Ville is wild. Train stations be dark. Train stations be dark. I hope nobody ain't standing out there alone. No way. You know what I mean? All right. Let's get to some more of these comments at hand. What's up to John? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. All right, read that one. Warrior123 says, Amityville. You said, yeah, a horror movie based on an actual case. That's crazy. All right, Forrest says, thank for the chat. It seems like you think before you speak, which is a welcome change. Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we like to have respectful conversations in general, whether we're talking about a news story, whether it's just a basic topic at the end of the day, you know what I mean? And that's just me. I like to think more so than it's just to speak without thinking for the most part, which a lot of people can mess up because they don't think upon what they say or about to say. You know what I mean? All right. Sion says, America is gone. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by America is gone? You know what I mean? Where you live at? Where you live? You understand? I don't think America is like, you know, this golden place to live. So in some sense, yeah, I agree with you. What up to G Swole? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. He says, is it that serious to unalive someone over a job? SMH, that's crazy. Well, a lot of people are that way. A lot of people are very sensitive. Yeah, man, you get fired and they feel upset and they want to fight and stuff like that. You know, it ain't that serious. I think, what is the minimum wage over there in Ohio? Ohio minimum wage. Let me see, how much is that? $7.25? Ohio minimum wage is $10.70. Non-tipped. Tipped employees is $5.35. Wow. $5.35 per hour for tipped employees. $10.70 for non-tipped employees. $10.70. Times that by 40. Times that by 40. $10.70. How much is that? Let me get a calculator up here. $10.70 times 40 hours, if you're getting that per week. If you're getting that. That's $4.28. Taxes. On an average, what is it like? 30% out? You're making probably after taxes $300 a week. $300 a week. It's 4 weeks. That's $1,200. Man. Rent itself or mortgage itself. Well, you ain't got no mortgage with that type of money. Rent itself is about what? 13, 14. You understand? What I'm going to do with that? What am I going to do with $10.70? And you might have kids at that. You know? That's crazy, man. That is crazy. Or is they're trying to get a job, correction officer, where I get paid $25.20. Correctional officer, detention officer, you know, they get paid, and they offering sign-on bonuses also. They offering sign-on bonuses out here too in North Carolina. You know what I mean? Makes you think, it makes you wonder. You know? That's how bad it is. They need people. New York City need police officers and correctional officers. North Carolina, New Jersey, they need people. New Jersey emailing me. You understand? South Carolina. They need people. Nobody want to. It seems like nobody want to become a law enforcement officer no more. You understand? All right. Gino Peter says, no, $300 a week is wicked. You're right about that. I might as well do Lyft or Uber. Make more doing that. G. Swole says, well, what's the cost of living out there? The cost of living? Well, for a decent place, I say for a decent place, where I'm at, I ain't gonna give no numbers away, but an average $1,500 a month, $1,500 a month for rent and or mortgage. You understand? You need 15. You understand? $1,500 a month for something decent. Now, if you want something cheaper, they're gonna put you in the hood in North Carolina. You want to go to Gridtown, huh? They're gonna put you in Gridtown. Go to Gridtown. You want to pay low money. Be around them heathens and hounds out there. You know? SV says PA minimum wage is still $7.25, but most entry-level jobs start higher than that. $7.25. Pure robbery right there. Pure. Just send me off to the military if that's the only job I can find. I'd rather go there. You understand? If that's the case, you know, I'm just gonna have to take my chances in the Army, Marines. Well, I'm 41, so I can only go into the Navy right now. You understand? You know? All right. King says, I love Charlotte. Been there twice. Visited my mom. Cheaper to live there. For the most part. Or it says they never said nothing about a sign-on bonus. What location you at? Where you trying to be a correctional officer at work? Over here in North Carolina, they're giving out sign-on bonuses, like in Mecklenburg with Charlotte and stuff like that. I think it's like, might be about $5,000 sign-on bonus. DC police officers, 25 grand sign-on bonus. But guess what? That's DC. DC is something else. I know it. Durham County is 6,000 for the sheriff and detention correctional officer. Police officers 10,000 over there. Gino P says $2K for mortgage up here in upstate New York. For mortgage up there, not too bad. That's not too bad for mortgage in upstate New York. Not too bad. Not too bad. For mortgage. Now, if that is rent, because it also depends on, you know, what your down payment and stuff like that and credit and all that. But $2 grand for mortgage ain't too bad. It all depends what type of house it is also. All right. King says in New York, it's about 25 to 4,000, 2,500 to 4,000, depending on what you get. G. Swole says, no, I was talking about the cost of living in Ohio. Oh, I don't know. I don't live in Ohio. I don't know about that. I can look it up for you. The cost of living in Ohio. It says Ohio's cost of living is approximately 17 to 18% below the national average. This makes it one of the cheapest states to live in. Ohio. HO says, greetings, TOG family. Just tapping in with y'all. I'm at work. All right. Appreciate that. Be safe at H.O. Sister Monica, shout out to you. You said $7.25 per hour. Who work for that these days? Well, that's the minimum wage for a lot of places and stuff like that. You know, sometimes people come home from prison. They can't find jobs. It's hard for them to find those type of jobs, especially with certain crimes they may have on their record. They may be coming out of prison for 30 years from unaliving people, or a pedophile, or a rapist. You know what I mean? They can't find no good jobs. You know what I mean? So them folks know who's going to go to those jobs $7.25 per hour, because remember, a lot of them get paid pennies in prison. So $7.25 to them will be golden. All right, Jesus said, do you think by people not wanting to be an officer is going to usher in human-sized AI robots to take that job? No. I don't think a robot could do a job of a regular human being, law enforcement. What's up to DJ Grant? Shout out to you. EFP says correct, 5,000 sign-on bonus for sure. SV said 25K sign-on bonus is amazing. Oh yeah, because that's where I was going. You understand? I wasn't going to tell nobody, you know, but I got to change the plans. It's not about, all money ain't good money. All money ain't good money, because it has to be something with that $25,000. Look what's going on in DC right now with the protesting. You got to deal with that. And then you got to deal with the hoods over there. And then you got to deal with the politics that go along with being an officer in DC. That's something, man. That's something. That's how bad DC needs officers. That's how bad. You know what I mean? It could be good for some people, but you're going to be going through a whole lot. A whole lot. $25,000. It sounds good. It sounds good. But all money ain't good money. All money ain't good money. Brian, he says, what is it? Suffolk County Police pay highest in USA? Really? Let me look that up. Because to me, I think, let me see, salary. You said it says a new officer with the Suffolk County Police Department starts at $43,000. That's 43 grand. That's not a lot of money for an officer. That's not a lot. They start you off with about what? 50-something thousand. 43,000 is nothing. You understand? That ain't nothing. All right. DJ Grant says, he says, bro, Tony, you can handle it being a police officer. You got the combos. Oh man. The combos, huh? You know, sounds good. Sounds good. It's almost like the police agencies are like recruiting, like how the military was. Because they're looking for people. They are looking for people. You understand? What's up to Dawn B? Shout out to you. Sister Monica says they'll have to work 24 hours a day to see some good money, you mean? SV says, a few months ago I heard about a weapon that some prisoners use called Glock dookies. It made my stomach turn. Oh, what you heard of that on DJ Vlad? I heard that before too. Some Chicago rapper. Forgot his name. Goofy dude from Chicago. Goofy guy. He was talking about it. There's some crazy people out there. Glock dookies. Grown men making Glock dookies in jail, in prison. You got nothing else better to do. You don't want to do nothing to study your case to try to get you out of there, to know programs to try to help you get out sooner. They too busy in the prison cell making Glock dookies. Idiots. Grown men. That's sad, man. That's sad right there. You understand? Yeah, piece of 25 sounds like the feds. G-Swole says, so you don't think those movies like The Robot, like Robot, like iRobot, Terminator, and RoboCop was telling us something about the future, when it really seems like AI is taking over? Me, personally, no. No. What's up with Sylvia James? Shout out to you. DJ Grant says, here in the Bay in California, you start out around 120,000. Let me look it up. Maybe because it's expensive out there. Maybe California is very expensive. Could be. 120K a year. That's good. All right. You want something from the stove. What kind of name is that for YouTube? You said you said, did Gino Jennings shout you out yesterday? What kind of question was that? I would recommend you go check out the videos. Go check them out. You understand? Never mind me getting shout out. Most importantly, the word is more important. You know? All right? Diane says, you bring good information. This is repay. Repay. All right? David B said, this is the second time something like this happened. What in the world is going on? Oh, yeah. With that kick from McDonald's, right? That chick from McDonald's stabbed the manager up and whatnot. Now this. All right, what's up to Tanya Bond? Shout out to you. DJ Grant says, look up Bart. Police, they easily start out making over 100K easily. Let me look that up. That's in Oakland, right? Oakland. Salary. Okay. Not bad. Salary range $132,000. Wow. $15,000 sign-on bonus. What is the pension? How much you get for pension when you retire? Pension plan at age 57. It says sworn officers are enrolled in CalPERS pension system with a retirement formula of 2.7% at age 57. Now I'm wondering, is that the 2.7 that you get at the end of from your salary when you retire? Whereas though in Maryland, Prince George County, I believe is 72% of the salary you from your salary when you retire, you get for the rest of your life. In Prince George County, Maryland, I believe they have one of the highest percentage pensions when you retire, Prince George County. But that's a good salary right there, man, 132K. But to think about it, man, that cost of living must be high. What's up to Wanda? Reckless Ali? Sylvia James? Where is a good place to reside? It all depends what you like. Diane Collins says, I am sorry this is not repay, but keep up, but keep the work up. Okay. Thumbs up to you. Sharon Taylor says, but they also find it in the fast food spots, customers jumping the counters and the employees smarting off at the customers. I've seen videos like that too. I've seen those type of videos and whatnot. What's up, the Sister McDonald? Shout out to you. Warriors at the pension where I'm at, Montgomery County and Dayton, Ohio. The benefits are good. I get that it's a tough job, but it's closer to me. I can walk there. That's wonderful. That's what's up. You know, keep doing your thing for sure. Yeah, man. What else we at? G-Swole said, do you think you can apply to be a cop just to get the bonus, then quit? Or do they make you work 6 months to get that bonus? It's 2 years. For example, if I was to proceed on with DC Police, I would have got $15,000 before the academy, then $10,000 after. Now, if I would have quit in 2 years, I would have had to pay all that back. It's a contract. It's just like trucking. It's just like trucking, right? You can get a sign-on bonus, or they could pay for your CDL, and you get a 2-year contract that you got to stay for 2 years. If you leave, you got to pay back. You understand? You got. He said, never mind. You got to pay that back. You got to pay that back. Whether it's trucking, whether it's law enforcement. But why would you want to leave? Because your salary is going to go up after a year if you're a law enforcement officer. You know what I mean? What's the point? You know, let me know. You trying to get the money and skate in 6 months. You gonna have, what you gonna spend the money on, huh? you want to get the 20. You want to go through the whole process to get the $25,000 and bounce. He says, because I don't want to die. We all gonna die one day, fella. We all gonna die. He said, because I don't want to die. You know what I mean? We all gonna die. Someday, one day. All right? DJ Grant says, oh yeah, 1-bedroom apartment in the Bay. Average around 25 just for a 1-bedroom in the hood and going up. Well, having $132,000 salary, $2,500 a month for rent, that wouldn't be nothing with that salary for sure. Warrior says they're not letting you slide with that money. Nope. AG, what up? He says Taco Bell employee must love working to give up his life. DJ Grant says, I got my CDL on my own. Don't got to pay back nothing. Same here. Same here. You know what I mean? And that was a blessing. Gino P says, the Wendy's massacre in Flushing, Queens back in the day, a disgruntled employee went back to stick them up and it went left. Wow. That's crazy. All right. G Squall says, I know, but I don't want to force death upon me due to being a cop. I don't think that's what that is. You know what I mean? I don't think that's what that is for sure. You know what I mean? I mean, if that's what you think, then hey, cool. I think it's a great career. You understand that? It carries a lot of benefits. And whatnot, especially if you got a family and what have you, carries a pension, you know, and you being in the truth of God and holiness and stuff like that, you could be a great asset to the community. You know what I'm saying? We can't complain about police officers if we're not willing to become one. We can't complain about, oh man, these officers out here doing the right job. Then why don't some of us become officers then? If that's the case. You understand? If that's the case. You know, a lot of us is from the hood. A lot of us can relate and things like that. We could be a great asset. You know, shout out to B.E. Holy. He's an officer. Shout out to him. Good fella. You know, who else is an officer out here? I think at one point, Brother Miles. I think he's out of the South Carolina Temple. Good fella. Good officer. Right? DJ Grant says, I've seen cases like that where employees are upset with the job and go back wreaking havoc, tearing up everything. Yep. AG says, remember being laid off from a job. A couple of days later, manager called and was amazed how positively strong I was. Oh, yeah. G00ts says, I heard that's the reason why people don't want to apply to become a cop due to cops getting unalived. Well, I mean, hey, it is what it is. You know, a lot of agencies are hiring. They need people. They need you, G00ts. Listen, they need you out there, G00ts. Wanda says, I'm not sure what the topic is, but it is true that Trump is making it mandatory for Mexican truckers learn English to keep their CDL. I was told this by a trucker. I could look it up. I could look it up for you. Let me see. Okay, it says Mexican truck drivers study English to comply with new U.S. language rules. Wow. I knew nothing about that. That's crazy. Ain't that something? Wanda says, I think I read that. David B says, I was listening to a guy going over statistics where police officers have unalived thousands of U.S. citizens. Wow. So he said that they were worse than terrorists. That's crazy. SV says, would you prefer to CO in a juvenile detention center or adult? Me personally, adult. I prefer to do it at an adult setting versus juvenile detention. You know, Gino P says them COs be lamping all day in the bubble. All they did was open and close cells. Set the porters up and with cleaning supplies. Wow. Wanda says, I'm retired from being a police sergeant. Shout out to you. Hey, G00ts, where you at? She's retired. You understand? G00ts. All right. DJ Grant says, I've seen that happen a lot, and apparently they been making sure they have to be able to speak sufficient English without a translator. Oh, wow. AG says it was reported English language was required to keep CDL. Have to read street signs. DJ Grant says, I think the adults are more responsible rather than juveniles. What's up to Austin? Shout out to you. Sharon says, because Mexican driver could not read the English sign, made a bad U-turn, and a family died as a result. If it was what I heard via second-hand word of mouth. Oh. Could be that. It could be, you know, reading the height signs and stuff like that. A normal truck is around what? 12 feet 6 inches. And I know in New York they got them low clearance bridges. Them low bridges out there in New York. You understand? Especially New York. On them parkways and whatnot. You know what I mean? Normally, you got to take the George Washington with a truck. George Washington Bridge, a lot of truck drivers go through there to get to New York. You understand? Or the Lincoln Tunnel. The Lincoln Tunnel is the second one. I wouldn't try the Holland Tunnel with a tractor trailer. No. You know what I mean? Before you even get in the Holland Tunnel, there's a measurement at the top. You know? All right, Anthony Nelson says, I'm 58. What branch can I go in? He said, what branch could you go into? Maybe when they have a draft, if they have a draft, they probably gonna need you. They probably gonna need you. Gino P says, the G4 Rikers is looking for COs, you heard? Said Rikers. Rikers. Oh, man. Wow. Man, it said Rikers. DJ Grant says they are doing random truck checks and seeing if they can talk and understand. A lot of Indian and Mexican fellas got trucks put out of service because of this. Wow. Wow, I didn't know that, man. I didn't know that. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. G4 says, I'm good, and I don't think I can become a CO due to having a big brother serving life in prison. That's not true. That ain't true. What that got to do with you? That has nothing to do with you. As long as you tell the truth. You understand? You know, that doesn't exempt you. If they call for a draft and they pick you, you can't use that as an excuse, D-Swole. You'll be good. Coco B says, I'm just joining the live and don't see anything wrong with the truckers having to learn English to keep their jobs. They are interacting with English-speaking people. I agree with you on that one. For sure. You know? Appreciate that. DJ Grant says, I thought you knew about the random trucks checks going on. No. I didn't know about that. You understand? The only thing I can remember is that fella, he made an illegal U-turn. I think he was Indian or something like that. I don't know. I think he was a California trucker, or he got his license from California. He made that turn, and I think a van slammed into his trailer. All right. G4 says, so they don't think I would try to break him out of prison. What? Nah, fella. No way. I don't think you would want to risk your job for that. DJ Grant says, most of the time you can tell some of them don't know or understand because they just, what is that, nod their head or smile or point at the paperwork. Oh. Oh, yeah. Sion, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? They. Who's they? They're taking y'all trucker jobs. Who's they? I don't get it. Who is they? Let me know who you're referring to at Sion. It says they taking y'all trucker jobs. I don't know what you're talking about. You says they, them illegals. Huh? If they got all the proper paperwork to become a truck driver, how they are illegals. How are they illegals if they got a CDL and they went through the Department of Transportation and everything? Let me know. TJ Grant says, you ever seen a trucker driving with a flat trailer tire and keep rolling? Yeah, me. Me. That was me. You understand? Because I had to go to a point where as though they could make certain repairs off the highway. You know? You laughing. That'd be me. Or if it's the end of the shift, if I'm done with the last run, the last route, and the tire just get flat, I ain't sitting here. We gonna get back to the location, call up dispatch, listen, get this tire fixed. I'm out, peace. That's me. I'm out. I ain't about to sit here for no 3-4 hours waiting on Penske or Ryder to come through to fix this tire. I'm not doing that. You know? If I got to hit a weigh station, I go around the weigh station. I look at my map. Where can I go around this weigh station? I'm going around it. You know? Oh yeah, because tires can burst at any moment. Could be because of the weather, a nail. You understand? It can happen. But if I'm like out like hours somewhere, I wouldn't do it. But if I'm like 10 minutes away, 15, and I caught a flat tire out there, I'm not sitting out there for no 4 hours. All right. SV says, I know it's a lot of temptation for male COs in female prisons and female COs in male prisons. What's up to Shannon? What's up to Gwendolyn? Shout out to you. All right. Sion said, no, they don't do that anymore. You can just get your CDL from a crook trucking company. I don't think that's true. That was California. You know what I mean? That's California. I think Trump was upset about that one. That was Cali. No point intended at DJ Grant or G Swole. But I think that fella got his CDLs from Cali. You know? Sylvia James, no problem. G Swole says, so you're allowed to leave your broken down truck and you don't get paid for waiting for a mechanic to fix your truck. Are you allowed to? If I got something to do, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? That's me. If I got something important that I have to do and the truck breaks down, I let them know I'm out. Get another driver over here because I'm going. You know? Or I'll be back. Simple. That's me. All right, DJ Grant said that is true. Some companies here and by there are issuing some illegals official CDLs. That's part of why the problem happened. Oh, okay. Understandable. Wow. Let's see how much time we got left before we could knock off. It's a good conversation in general. Lord willing, we'll be on the other channel talking about a recap and whatnot of the services from this past weekend with the TOG. Now we talking about illegals at Sion. Funny. G-Sports says, I'm not going to lie. I heard rumors at my job that a lot of my Latina workers paid somebody to give them their CDLs. Wow. Well, here's the deal. I don't know how they do it in California, but you got to take your DOT medical. So I don't know how they getting through with that. You understand? When your DOT medical goes to the DMV, unless they're not doing that DOT medical or whatever the case may be, because a lot of times somebody could own a trucking company. They could have one truck. And yes, it's a possibility that, that stuff is illegal with the CDLs. And he could get this illegal to drive his truck. It's possible. So here you have to do your DOT medical and go to the DMV. Then get your hours and you're good. Wow. Wow. All right. So we got a couple more minutes. If you got any last closing remarks, feel free to leave it in the chat room as we close this thing out in a bit. It was a good conversation for the most part. Shout out to everybody out there, upon this Monday. Said Trump can't save his country. Not a problem. All right, we got to go. God bless to everybody out there. I'm Tony Harvin, signing off. I'm out. Peace.